Yorkers can't appreciate celebrating Thanksgiving by eating a turkey. We think you should go to a Carvel ice cream store and buy an ice cream turkey. Then we can all have a party with you.
Your participating Carvel ice cream store has Tom the turkey for Thanksgiving. And he's ready and beautiful. Or you want to send one to a friend? Use the toll-free number that you see here. We honor most major credit cards. And have a happy holiday, folks. Thank you.
From the bunker, this is episode 2 of Mr. Haney's Truck. And today we finish off our conversation with Arthur Nersesian, New York City writer. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into the rest of that conversation. You know, when it was unique unto itself.
Well, that's the first, that's the two sides of it are New York when it was an idiosyncratic, because that's really, it's interesting because the thing that kept New York strong, one of the things economically, was the fact that we have all these different, it's the garment district, the publishing district, the financial district, all here and so on, and and there's other districts that but the real thing was it was the quirky, kooky, alternate America district.
Right.
That's really what embodied that.
It was Joseph Mitchell's New York.
Well, it was a lot of people's New York, but the point is, it was they used to say. Well, the point is that New York was the alternative, and now that's gone. We're now, as much as this is Ohio land,
right?
America. Well, so it's just.
I remember when I first moved here, when I would go outside of New York, or if I'd go home to Pennsylvania, people would say, "Oh, do you live in New York now?" I'd be like, "Yeah," and it's like, "Oh man,
yeah.
How can you live in New York?" And then a few years ago, I went out to Iowa, and my brother was getting married. And they said, "So you live in New York, huh?" A completely different.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, especially since 9/11, it's like now the heroic city of New York, and it's like, it's so bizarre in that sense. I mean, the whole World Trade Center thing, it feels like it should have happened in the Midwest, as much as it's been embraced by the rest of America.
Right.
And and there used to be kind of this. I don't know, this kind of slight contempt that all the artistic types had towards the World Trade Center, these two kind of boring, skyscrapers at the edge of the island that basically...
Everybody loved it. I never was a fan.
Well, I was a fan on 9/12. I was like, I like those old buildings. Now that they're gone,
well, they were there. There was nothing you could do about it.
They were like something you'd see in the back of a Salvation Army, these kind of clunky, old, out-of-touch, weird buildings, but man, when they were gone, you just breaks your heart.
Well, the interesting thing is this is my conspiracy theory, is that once I looked into it, I was writing an article about it back when I was writing for the Examiner, before I knew no one took them seriously, that the Japanese architect who designed them.
Oh yeah.
Islamic. It was Islamic architecture, and the whole plaza was based on Mecca.
Holy shit. I never heard that. That's wild.
Yeah, that's what I thought was really weird. And this, God, I wish I could remember his name. This Japanese architect also designed, what's the capital of Saudi Arabia?
Oh,
Riyadh?
Riyadh, is it?
Well, he was, the Saudi royal family way back when loved his stuff, so they had commissioned him to design the airport.
Wow. And
as we know, Bin Laden's family were mortal enemies with that Saudi royal family.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I'm wondering if part of the reason, along with the economic center, I wonder if there was some sort of personal thing that Bin Laden had in the back of his mind.
That's funny.
That this little prick.
He had a personal vengeance against this guy. Right. God, they should have got Pi or someone that to, Frank Lloyd Wright, or I guess he was dead by then.
Right.
That's funny. All about the architect.
Have you seen the new movie about Petite?
No.
The fictionalized version?
Oh, yeah. I remember that guy when he used to, he used to string ropes to, lampposts in the village, and you'd see him on little, on unicycles and stuff like that. He was
right.
Still, I didn't think he was going to turn into this iconic, New York, because, I don't know, if you live through that and you remember that at the time, the notion that you take these events now and they've kind of turned them into these folklore things, it becomes kind of, oh, shit.
Right.
I don't know. It becomes kind of annoying.
Well, he did an amazing thing. I mean, the documentary, supposedly this thing gives you vertigo, the way it's filmed.
Yeah.
And it's like, the documentary is even more fascinating, and you don't get vertigo from it. It's just watching him prepare and do all this stuff, and then do it.
We're talking about Man on a Wire, right?
Yeah, Man on a Wire.
But there's now this reenactment. This is isn't this a dramatization?
Yeah, it's like Bruckheimer or somebody like that. I forget.
Well, yeah, no, actually,
not Bruckheimer.
Robert Zemeckis is the one that did it.
It is?
Yeah, which is strange.
Oh.
Well, yeah, haven't you heard this weird theory about? There's this weird theory that's been bouncing around the internet about because he also did Back to the Future, and there are apparently references in Back to the Future to 9/11. There's this. I'll send it to you. It's this.
Hey, The Matrix too.
Well, he didn't do that.
There's a scene in The Matrix where they show his passport, and it expires on 9/11/2001.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm not a conspiracy nut.
Crazy stuff, man. But apparently in this conspiracy thing, he somehow makes reference to not Man on the Wire, the Walk. It's now called.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. Go figure. But,
so what was the movie? Your book got optioned.
Yeah.
It was that guy from St. Elsewhere or whoever it was.
Oh, yeah, from ER.
What book was it?
It was Dog Run.
Dog Run, right?
Dog Run. And yes, it was made into a film. It was, what's his name? The guy who played
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards, who was in Top Gun. He's the guy that gets killed in Top Gun.
Yeah, he's a dick.
He's not a dick. He's a nice guy. But
he stole your film.
No, he didn't steal it. Oh God! I don't even know if it's gonna. I mean, they filmed it, but I haven't. It's been in I guess editing since then. I have no idea what's going on with it, and I'm not holding my breath. So I don't know. We'll see.
We'll tell the story, or don't you want to talk about that?
Well,
I want to hear the dirt.
The dirt. Well, all right. So what happened was this: around 2003.
Welcome to the page 6 segment of.
I wish it was that sensational. Around 2003, he basically purchased the film rights to Dog Run, my third book. And let me just add that I had the first book was optioned by two other producers, and then Bob Odenkirk, who did a pretty good script, by the way. He's from Breaking Bad.
And whatever happened with that?
Well, he actually had a pretty decent cast. I think he was going to either get Joe Gordon-Levitt. No, he was going to get Jesse Eisenberg, and he
from the sandwich shop up in the Flatiron District.
No, Eisenberg's from the Social Network movie.
Oh.
Anyway, he was unable to. Believe it or not, he was unable to raise the $5 million. He tried to. God bless him. He really did try. And he made it about halfway, and then he just said, I can't get the investors. So, and he had, again, with Jesse Eisenberg on board, which is amazing because at that point, he was not known. But, and then after that, my Dorgan was the second book, and Anthony Edwards optioned that. And actually, somebody else optioned it. He ended up buying the film rights for 10 years. There was a 10-year reversion clause. And
then after 10 years and 1 day.
Well, it was actually 10 years and about 5 months. I mean, what happened?
Well, for all purposes, it was 10 months. In 1 day, or 10 years in 1 day.
Well, I mean, what happened was this: that we signed the contract, I guess, in 2003, and I think it was March of 2003.
Did he twirl his mustache after you signed?
He didn't. I didn't have a mustache. I don't think he even has hair. Anyway, but basically he by 2013, by March of 2013, as far as I knew, the contract was over and had terminated, and he had not made it. And around September of 2013, I was leaving a book party, and I suddenly got a text, and it was actually I didn't even know who it was, someone on Facebook, who said, "Congratulations about your film being made." And I wrote back, "I don't have a film being made." And they wrote back, "Go to Tompkins Square Park right now." And since I lived a few blocks from Tompkins Square Park, I walked over to Tompkins Square Park, and sure enough, I saw a film crew. And as I approached, the PA stopped me and said, "Sir, we're shooting a film. Can you please walk around?"
Yeah, I know. It's my film, you punk.
Well, I said, "What's the film?" And the working title, I think, or maybe the final title is "My Dead Boyfriend." And I said, my novel has a dead boyfriend in it. And I said, well, what's this based on? Do you know anything about this story? And he said, yeah, it's based on a novel by Arthur Nersesian.
Oh, God.
So I said, well, I'm Arthur Nersesian, and I don't think there's anyone has the rights to make my movie. I said, anyway.
So wait a minute. Once the contract expired, how was he allowed to retain rights?
Well, this is the question. This is the question for lawyers and kings. I mean, the problem is like
it's a lawsuit.
Well, the problem is like
Adi, let me tell you, it's a lawsuit. You gotta go. You gotta cream this guy.
Well, if you wanna kind of
I got a guy.
Cash,
I got a guy.
Yeah.
We'll take care of this Edwards punk.
Well,
he don't mess with my Artie, you know.
Oh, you go ahead and take care of Edwards, But I couldn't. My agent was at Endeavor. Endeavor kind of folded and became William Morris or something like that, and it was I became basically an orphan with no one to represent me. So it's at that point, I thought, all right, let's just kind of go forward and not make a big stink of this. I don't know if I'm entitled to added cash. I don't know, but
I would think so.
Well, like
did
I said,
you go over? Do you still have the copy of that contract? I'd go over it. You lost it, right? Your dog ate it.
No, there's boxes and boxes and boxes of documents. At this point, the film hasn't even come out, and I'm a little worried because I don't really want to kill the film right now. That might be, it might still be helpful to me that it's coming out.
It's good experience.
Yeah.
When they make a movie out of your, maybe that'll help you. As a writer,
we don't live in a literary culture anymore. We live in more of a cinematic culture, ideally a YouTube culture, more of a rock and roll culture. But the point is, like, it's you're not going to get money. I mean, it's difficult to extract cash from this particular field. So it's, my best chance might be if the film does come out and creates a little bit of a ripple. So I'm not too eager to.
You call up page 6.
The only page 6 I can call up is my local penny saver.
Call up Cindy Adams.
Isn't she dead?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I don't think so.
She's like somewhere in Green Lawn Cemetery or something like that.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well.
So
anyway, my latest book, though.
Oh, okay.
which is why I'm here.
You have another book?
Well, I came out with a crime thriller that actually.
How do you find time to leave the house?
Well, as long as I
don't... And you do walk a lot.
Yes, and if I'm not running into you, I usually have a lot of time to leave the house and walk a lot. Though my last novel was called Gladys of the Hunt, and I actually it's a serial murderer in Times Square.
You spelled Gladys wrong.
I know. Well, that's the Scottish spelling, right? Something like that with the 2 S's.
Is this what they call a literary license?
Well, it actually is supposed to allude to. It's supposed to look like Goddess of the Hunt.
It's lewd?
Illusion, a literary illusion. It's supposed to look like Goddess of the Hunt. That's why it has the 2 S's.
Oh,
that was an old alternative spelling of Gladys. But it has there's a serial murderer that it's kind of a metaphor for what New York real estate has happened to New York real estate. The murderer is the New York, is the development of New York in effect.
Oh, by the way, I do have a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
I was supposed to be a character in one of your novels.
Well,
Detective Bernard Mooney.
Well, Bruni Farrell, you're happy.
That's not it. What the hell?
Oh,
and what was the character? A 50-year-old burned out drunk, cynical drunk.
Oh, well, you're not cynical, and Lord knows you don't drink, so none of those things fit. So anyway, all right, but
So what else you got coming up?
Well, I mean, that just came out a year ago. I'm actually doing a reading in about a week or so at the Bowery Poetry Club on I think it's Thursday, November.
Well, hopefully this will be be posted by that time.
Yeah,
so.
But yeah. Oh well. What else? I'm finishing my 5 books of Moses, which is supposed to come out maybe next year, maybe 2016 if all goes well. And it is 5 separate books, but it's actually coming out in a single volume. It's actually one story from A to Z, but it has 5.
Is this the Robert Moses thing?
This is the Robert Moses series. Yeah. So
the hero and most loved and hated man of New York.
Well, it kind of discusses that a little bit. I mean, it basically is an alternative history of New York.
Oh God!
Well,
not like Howard Zinn.
No, he's not alternative. He is the history of New York. He's the other point of view, the loser point of view of New York, the poor point of view. God bless him. But anyway,
Okay, so if anybody wants to get in contact with you, it's Facebook.
Facebook, and you can buy all my books on Amazon or anywhere else, or go to your local bookstore.
Go there first.
Let me please wheel back that in, because, yes, I can be found anywhere books are sold.
Oh, and getting back to Eisenberg's, I want to tell people who aren't listening, who don't live in New York, who planning on visiting, Eisenberg's is a classic old deli.
Yeah.
And it's still there. It's in the Flatiron District, and I believe you can find them online, and I think they're...
between 23rd and 22nd.
Something like
Avenue.
that, yeah.
But I wonder how they're able to... I wonder how they can stay in business.
I think they probably own their building.
I'm surprised because I thought that's a big building. I don't think it's a small... Maybe it is
I don't know.
Building. That really is the lesson. Like all the places, all the establishments that were wise enough to buy their own building are still in business.
Well, Anthony Bourdain did an episode specifically about that, about the restaurants that have been around for most of the 20th century. They all have one thing in common. They own their building.
Oh, God.
But Eisenberg's, I think their motto is all the cholesterol and all the fat.
Yeah, well, that's a good...
Which makes me wonder how it can stay in business.
Listen, I guess if you don't have to worry about the rent increase, because that really is what kills you. I mean, it's, and it goes beyond restaurants to, like, bookstore. I mean, like, the Strand, they own,
right.
Fred Bass owns the building there. I know that the old 8th Street bookstore, which was around for years, the guy was wise enough to buy his building, but then he got into supposedly a dispute with his employees who tried to unionize, and like the next day he closed the store.
Wait a minute. What place was that?
It was the 8th Street bookstore, which was...
It was multi-level, right?
It was like 3 floors, yeah.
Who was the old woman? Maybe she was a famous writer who used to go there all the time.
Oh, you think of DeJuno Barnes?
Maybe.
She was like a big experimental writer who lived in Patchen Place.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was right down the block from there.
But didn't they reopen it after that?
Well, I mean, from what I understand, that's not to be confused with the St. Mark's, which is now in its 3rd incarnation, and they're between 3rd Street and 1st and Avenue.
And I thought they should have gone out of business a long time
Everybody
ago.
felt they should, but that is the granddaddy of village bookstores right now. And after years of seeing all the other small bookstores from like Marlborough and the West Village to the Soho books in Soho and on and on and on, after seeing them all kind of go out of business, it's kind of heartbreaking. And it's I know bookstores now are a dying breed, especially with the ebook and so on and Amazon. But to me, they were really cultural oases in the middle of all this, and where people and writers and so forth can meet and hang out and kind of collaborate and so forth. And and that's gone. And I'm not sure if the internet really can pick up the slack on that. There's just
no, but there's just something about a tactile book.
Right.
I have on my tablet, I have a Kindle, but the only books that I read on it are books from the Gutenberg Project, which are only available in digital form.
Oh, that's interesting.
From like the 1800s and stuff like that. But if it's a new book, I'd rather have the actual book.
Well, me too. But beyond that, I'm talking more about culture and just the idea of meeting people and kind of collaborating and doing literary magazines or readings and just kind of getting to know each other. And what are you working on? What am I working on? And that human contact that's becoming kind of rare. Less nowadays. I think that kind of was a major force in stimulating the culture and getting writers out there and and working, and I think that's missing a little bit nowadays. So.
Well, you said something, we were hanging out one time about the screen. I thought it was the most perfect description of today's society, about how kids are looking at their screen rather than out here.
Right. Well, that's
that's become their world.
It's far more solipsistic. It's far more, you can kind of personalize it to what you want to see. It's far more self-indulgent and kind of masturbatory, versus connecting, versus taking in. I mean, it really is kind of putting it really, as opposed to kind of absorbing from the world around you and learning how that works and kind of collaborating with it to some degree and putting in your 2 cents. The notion of the perspective of this age, which is, I think of it more of as a hand mirror than anything else, where you kind of look at, the selfie is the perfect statement. It's incredibly narcissistic and it's disconnected and it
they
really
now have
you.
dildo selfie sticks.
Well, the thing is, like, you're not gonna think about it when those you see people walking down the block and they're texting each other and so on. They're not texting anything new. They're texting someone they already know who they're comfortable with.
Right.
And, you know, when you are looking around you, you're looking at the new. You're taking in the broader world. You're breaking the ice and you're kind of breaking the concepts of what you think it is and seeing what it actually is. What's the point of living in the city or going anywhere when all you're going to be looking at is whatever you're holding in your hand? It's like you might as well just... Well, I
think I mentioned to you, I said, well, we do that too. Even people our age, we look down at this thing. But then you brought a very good point about how, we use this, and although you can't see it, it's no video, is that we use this to get to this, the bigger outside thing.
Well, I mean, just that there is a kind of, I think that there's a healthy balance between these things, between making technology your bitch, if you will, and versus becoming its bitch. And I think too many people have basically become enslaved to the technology, and instead of using it to kind of broaden things for them.
Right.
So, yes.
All right, you want to wrap this up?
Let's wrap this up.
Okay. Any
final thoughts?
Yeah. Any final thoughts? Any promotions? Anything you want to remind people of?
Well, I guess the only thing I would probably say if I have to is read a book. How's that? Find a book and read it. It'd be nice if. That'll be my final thought.
Okay, but any tell them about the book. Remind people of the book that's coming out. The current book.
All right. Well, sometime next year in 2016, probably in the fall, my next book will be the 5 Books of Moses, coming out with the Akashic books.
Right.
And it should be fun. A pretty fun read. I really sex, violence, humor, they're all there. And
well, let's just go over quickly the list of your books. Right. The Fuck Up, Dog Run, Chinese Takeout, Unlubricated, Manhattan Lover Boys, Suicide Casanova, Mesopotamia, The 5 Books of Moses. That's the one you're working on now, right?
Yeah, it's actually the first 2, The Swing Voter of Staten Island and The Sacrificial Circumcision of the Bronx, are already out.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So the last 3 of those books are coming out next year.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And once again, pimp your writing workshop.
Oh, yeah. So, writing workshop. Contact me through Facebook. If you are interested in writing, we can talk, see where you're at.
NER.
SESIAN. Arthur.
Arthur.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Thank you for having me here.
Well, thanks for coming and doing the initial podcast.
Well, I look forward to hearing more of them.
Okay, thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was my conversation with Arthur Nersesian. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'm not sure what I'm doing next week. I did have a temporary guest, but he had a change of plans, so we had to put that off. But anyway, I'll be back next Sunday with something else, probably something weird. All right? Take care, folks.
The mood is set. The lights are low. Where's the best place to buy a great stereo?
Corvettes has more of what you're looking for.
At Corvettes, you'll find more than just a couple of famous brand stereos. We've got lots, including the newest by Panasonic, Fisher, and Pioneer. You'll find the newest radios, too, from portables to digital clock radios, plus a whole host of tape recorders.
And look at these low Corvettes prices. What's the team? What's the score? I need a new TV set. What's the best store?
Corvettes has more of what you're looking for.
There's more in store for you at Corvettes. From Panasonic's battery portable TV to Sony's new electronic tuning, plus the latest videotape recorders.
And look at Corvette's low prices.
So for great values on the latest in home entertainment,
Corvettes has more of what you're looking for. There's more in store for you at Corvettes.